Jurassic World. The film starts with a shot of a dinosaur egg. It starts to crack and break open as a baby dinosaur is ready to emerge. Its claws break through before we get a look at its glowing eye. We meet the Mitchell family as parents Scott and Karen, Adam Buckley and Judy Greer, bring their sons Zach and Gray, Nick Robinson and Ty Simpkins, to the airport for what is supposed to be a family vacation. Karen bids her sons farewell as they depart, though she is visibly worried about them. The boys are taken to an area where a ship guides them to Isla Nublar for the unveiling of Jurassic World, a new theme park where their aunt Claire Deering, Bryce Dallas Howard, is the operations manager. Her assistant Zara, Katie McGrath, picks the boys up and travels with them to the resort, which is filled with hundreds of new guests eager to see what the park has to offer. Claire meets with 3 investors to show them that their money would be in good hands as the park scientists are continuing to find advances in genetically modifying dinosaurs. According to Claire, they've created the first ever dinosaur hybrid, the Indominus Rex. The investors all insist that they, like the park's guests, only want to be thrilled, which Claire can guarantee. After the meeting is done, Claire finds the boys. Gray is excited to see her, but Zach knows Claire is too busy to care about them. She has them stick with Zara for the day, while she tends to her business. Claire next meets with park employees Lowry and Vivian, Jake Johnson and Lauren Lapkus, to monitor the park's activity, before meeting Pith the park's owner Simon Misrani, Irrfan Khan, to go inspect the Indominus. They see on the glass overlooking the cage that there are 2 large cracks, indicating that the Indominus tried to break through it. Misrani requests that Claire find the park's velociraptor trainer and expert Owen Grady, Chris Pratt, to ensure that this part of the park is secure. Claire doesn't seem too pleased to hear Owen's name. Owen is with his raptors, which he's named Blue, Charlie, Delta, and Echo. Owen says he's the alpha. He has managed to tame them and keep them under control as the guests watch in amusement, along with his training partner Barry, Omar Sy. Vic Hoskins, Vincent D'Onofrio, head of engine security, thinks of the raptors as nothing more than park property and that they ought to be used as military weapons, which Owen and Barry disagree with. A new employee tries to wrangle a pig as it runs through the cage, only to get pulled in before the raptors. Owen gets the employee out and holds the raptors back before rolling out of the cage in the nick of time, showing that the raptors are not fully tamed. Zach and Gray are on a way from Zara to explore the rest of the park. Gray had an active interest in the dinosaurs, while Zach creepily stares at other girls, despite already having a girlfriend. They go to the Mosasaur attraction, where a massive underwater dinosaur emerges and takes a bite out of a shark before splashing the audience. Among the rest of the attractions are a petting zoo for kids, where they can ride baby triceratops. On the way to find Owen, Claire gets a call from Karen after learning that the boys aren't with her. Karen starts crying since she wishes she could spend time with them before she and Scott get divorced. We see her outside the office of some divorce lawyers. Claire comforts her and hangs up as she approaches Owen's bungalow. She tells him why she needs him, and he follows her to the Indominus. Upon returning to the Indominus cage, Owen noticed large claw marks against the wall. Claire panics and thinks the Indominus tried to escape. Lowry and Vivian attempt to locate her with the tracker in her head, while Owen and 2 other employees look through the enclosure. As it turns out, she is right there with them. The Indominus snatches one employee in her jaws, while Owen and the other man run away. She chases them outside the enclosure and sniffs out the other employee before devouring him. Owen slips under a van and masks his scent by cutting the fuel hose and dousing himself in gas. The Indominus misses him and proceeds moving toward the rest of the park. In the control room, Misrani orders an ACU team to go in and capture Indominus. It's quiet in the forest until one man picks up the tracker that the Indominus clawed out. He sees blood dripping on his arm. The Indominus has camouflaged herself and begins to massacre the entire team as they use non-lethal weapons to subdue her. Owen chastises the staff for this, while also noting that the Indominus wanted the people to think she escaped. He orders the staff to call for an evacuation of the island. Claire calls Zara and orders her to get the boys out of there, but Zara says she's lost sight of them. Claire then gets Owen to help her find the boys after proceeding to order the evacuation. Misrani speaks to Dr. Henry Wu, B. Wong, one of the few survivors of the previous incident at Jurassic Park, who has stayed to carry on John Hammond's legacy. Misrani criticizes Wu for his involvement in the creation of the Indominus and allowing something like her to live amongst other creatures. The boys ride a train to the next ride. Gray knows his parents are getting divorced, but Zach tries to get him to have fun to take his mind off it. They board the gyrosphere ride to take their own little tour of the park and into the ankylosaurs area. Zach tells Gray to ignore the evacuation warning, and they go off the grid. This allows Claire to track their location. The boys then cross paths with the Indominus. She viciously mauls another dinosaur to death, while Zach and Gray try to stay hidden. Zach's phone rings as Claire calls him, alerting the Indominus. She starts to smash their pot until they manage to escape. They run toward the edge of a cliff over a body of water, making the jump right before the Indominus catches them. Owen and Claire come across the broken pod and see the boys' footprints, then deduce that they jumped off the cliff. They also see the bodies of a half-dozen apatosauruses, clawed and bloodied. Owen realizes that the Indominus is killing for sport. Zach and Gray come across what used to be the Jurassic Park Visitor Center and they take a van to the northern part of the park. Owen and Claire come by the same area and are chased by the Indominus. This leads to Miss Ronnie and 3 other men to fly in a helicopter after the beast. In the chaos, they break through the aviary, unleashing a group of pterosaurs into the sky. The men in the helicopter are killed, and Miss Ronnie follows suit when the helicopter crashes to the ground. The pterosaurs start making their way to the rest of the park. As the pterosaurs descend, they attack the guests. Zara finds Zach and Gray as they arrive, only to get snatched by a pteranodon and then get eaten by the mosasaur, along with the pteranodon. Other guests are swooped up and eaten as well. The boys run to safety and are found by Owen and Claire, who kill 2 attacking dinosaurs. In the heat of the moment, Owen grabs Claire and kisses her. The boys join them, feeling much safer with Owen. As a result of the chaos, Hoskins assumes control of the park and decides to utilize the raptors as weapons. Owen finds Hoskins and punches him in the face, knowing he had this planned all along. Reluctantly, Owen agrees to use the raptors, but if they do it his way. After talking to them calmly, Owen rides into the jungle with the raptors with cameras on their heads. The raptors, along with another team of men, come across the Indominus. The raptors go over to her menacingly until the Indominus appears to communicate with them. That's when Owen realizes that the Indominus has raptor DNA. The raptors turn on the humans and start attacking. Blue nearly kills Barry until Owen calls him away. One of the raptors is killed when it is blown up by a missile. Owen, Claire, and the boys go to an engine lab where they find Hoskins trying to pack his things after having sent the rest of the team, including Wu, away with dinosaur embryos. Hoskins starts to mention his plan about using the Indominus as a weapon until one of the raptors gets into the lab. Hoskins tries to communicate with it in a friendly way like Owen did, but it bites his arm before ripping the rest of him apart. The other 4 run away. Owen finds the remaining raptors and once again tries to assert his dominance over them. They listen to him and become calm until the Indominus returns. She slams Blue against a wall and then kills the other 2 raptors. Gray says that the only thing to beat the Indominus is more teeth. Claire goes to one of the cages and orders Lowry, the only one to stay behind in the control room, to open that cage. Lowry does so, and from the cage emerges the Tyrannosaurus Rex. She charges into battle and swiftly attacks the Indominus. However, the beast proves to be very powerful and nearly mauls the T-Rex to death. Before she can strike the killing blow, Blue runs in and slams into the Indominus. The T-Rex rises and, with Blue's help, they push the Indominus toward the lagoon. She rises for more until the mosasaur jumps up and grabs the Indominus, dragging her into the water to her doom. The T-Rex and Blue appear to acknowledge each other respectfully, while Blue shares one last moment with Owen before retreating into the jungle. Not long after the chaos is over, Owen, Claire, and the boys are in a survivors' base in Costa Rica. Scott and Karen arrive and tearfully reunite with their sons. Claire goes to Owen and asks what they should do now. He says they should stick together for survival. They leave together. The film ends with the T-Rex standing over Isla Nublar, letting out her mighty roar.